Greetings. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is the Book Report. Let's save civilization. Civilization needs to be saved. Western civilization is on the decline. You hear that so much these days. But in spite of everybody sitting on their couch and yelling at their televisions, very few people seem to do much about it. Now, granted, we do not have the power to change world affairs the way we'd like, but that's not really the basis of civilization because it comes from people and how they behave, how we interact with each other, how we demonstrate etiquette. Yes, etiquette. You don't hear that spoken too much these days. That is a ritual of a given culture, a given people, of how they behave under certain circumstances when certain things have happened and certain conditions have arisen. It could be anything from a cocktail party to the birth of a child to the death of a grandparent. I grew up in a time when John F. Kennedy was in the White House, and Americans took a big interest in having dinner parties, dressing nicely, behaving properly with each other. And that has really gone out the window because, in spite of everybody saying we must do something to restore our country, restore our way of life, very few people actually want to do anything about it. Back in the 1980s, it was a thing to get back into that, at least for a while. People dressed nicely, people learned how to eat properly at a table. That kind of disappeared in the 1990s, and it really fell apart in the 2000s. Just the way people dress in public now is rather, frankly, disgusting, and I will not get you to lose your appetite given what I've seen at tables in recent times. So, what do you do about it? Well, this is about books, so I'm going to recommend one on the subject. Now, there are many out there. In fact, there's even some finishing schools that will give you a certificate if you pay a lot of money and you take their classes that will show that you actually have manners. We used to be taught this as children, by the way, and nobody charged for it. Cynicism aside, let me recommend a book that is still available, although it's not, I don't know if it's in print or not, but I still see it for sale in paperback form. And it's called The New Etiquette, and the author was a lady named Marjabel Young Stewart. I think I pronounced her name properly, the first name. It came out in 1987 and was published by St. Martin's Press. This is a very good book for the reason is it's a reference guide. Now, these days people are rushing around more than ever. No one has time to read that much, let alone study something. Traditionally, the book Etiquette by Emily Post, which originally came out in 1922 and is still in print and an excellent book, that's a course. That's an entire thing you would study in school, practically. It was taught in women's finishing schools. But these days, we need a quick guide because most people have not grown up with even proper table manners. How many families sit down and have formal meals these days? Not as many as you would think, frankly. Now, what's good about this book, The New Etiquette, the subtitle is Real Manners for Real People in Real Situations, an A to Z Guide. How do you send a sympathy letter to a business associate whose wife has just died? This book covers everything from how to eat corn on the cob to how to cough in public. Also, how to participate in different religious traditions, funerals, weddings, baptisms, you name it. Even how to eat food in Japan, which was a real funny thing to read when I actually purchased this book. I was living there. This is something that we really need to get back to because if we can't be civilized in our own homes and with our own friends and with our own family, how are we going to be civilized as a nation or even as a world? Even very poor countries I've been to will have very strict etiquette on how to behave and what to do. If you come into someone's home, for example, in some countries, you have to take off your shoes. Japan is very big on that. In fact, it's a mandatory thing. I could list all of the things I've learned about proper etiquette in different cultures and different countries I've been to, but this is something to deal with in the United States because we are a nation of slobs, and not just the way we dress. I'm sorry, folks, it should be illegal to wear pajamas when you go out shopping. It should be banned. When we talk about etiquette, it is a ritual. Now, ritual is a very important part of any country's culture, including that of the United States. We used to have a lot of ritual in this country, whether it was parades, whether it was proms at high schools, or all sorts of things. And we have to get back to that. We really do. And it doesn't cost a lot of money. In fact, it costs nothing. Class is not something you're born with. Class is something you learn. Now, I sometimes get into Washington, D.C. to meet people. And often we would go to a quality restaurant. And whatever you think about the swamp, as they call it, or the district of communism or the district of criminals, in the better restaurants, you have to dress nicely, and you better have table manners. Because some of the people that work in these restaurants have more class than more than half the people showing up in the front door. You can't just wear shorts going into some places in that city. And that's something I greatly respect. We don't dress properly to go out. I've been shocked sometimes going into restaurants. One restaurant I went to that I really enjoyed many years ago was Lovell on the Lake, which was in Lakeshore, which was owned by Jim Lovell of Apollo 13 fame. And that was a beautiful place, but I dressed up to go there. A friend of mine from Chicago was taking me there. We went out, and it was fantastic food, and there was a big painting of the 3 horses of Apollo on the wall. It was absolutely magnificent, and the food was fantastic. But I was so disappointed when I saw people sitting around me paying for a real good meal, who were wearing shorts, who were wearing T-shirts, who were wearing sneakers, and worst of all, didn't know how to behave at a table with linen on it. And here's this beautiful restaurant put together by this American hero and his son, and they just didn't show the respect not only of the environment they were in, but of themselves. Etiquette is a way you show respect not just to the people around you, but it's a way you enrich and respect yourself, which is why I'm recommending this book. There are other books, but let's start with this one, a quick reference guide on what to do in any given situation. And this is brilliant. It should be reprinted in hardback form, if you ask me, but you can get it out there used in that department. You can get it paperback, and it's a great start. Again, the book is The New Etiquette by Mehjabel Young Stewart. It was published by St. Martin's Press in 1987, and it is still available. Last I checked, up on Amazon and a few other places. And of course, the used book market is a great place to get things like this. If you can get it in hardback form, it's a great thing to have, and it's something to have at your desk in your study. Remember, class is not something you're born with. Class is something you learn along the way. That's it for today. If you appreciate my work, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, and share with your enemies. I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm up on X. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. I am up on other social media platforms, not Facebook. The podcast you're listening to, as well as other written work and photographs, can be found up on Substack. The address there is aureliancolumn.substack.com. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, keep reading. Good day.